The Minnesota Vikings looked like world beaters in the preseason, and then in week 1 of the regular season, did not look like world beaters. Look kind of like world losers. They're going to be a 3-point home favorite in week 2 against Detroit, who also struggled in week 1. They blew a 21-3 lead over the Chargers and wound up losing. And we are going to talk with Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com to find out which of these teams, if either, is more likely to bounce back. Joe Duffy, both these teams coming off of disappointing games in week 1. A lot of people were high on Minnesota coming into the regular season, but Teddy Bridgewater didn't have a good game. Adrian Peterson looked a little bit stale, looks like he's not totally ready, but then Detroit on the other side had an awesome defense last year. In week 1 did not look good at all. Matthew Stafford had kind of an elbow injury in the third quarter. He played through it. So kind of negative signs all over the field for both these teams. I think maybe we might lean towards the under. It's the 43 or 43.5 right now. If Minnesota, runs a lot, tries to utilize Adrian Peterson more, maybe we lean towards the under. I'm not sure what I think about this one. What's your take on these lines, Joe?
Well, Matt Stafford's always been very high on my predictably unpredictable list. He's a guy who's capable of, as I said, looking like a superstar one moment and then, a guy who shouldn't even be starting the next moment. And really, the sharp money on Matt Stafford is usually on live betting. If Stafford's got a big lead, you want to bet on the other team. And if Stafford's got a big deficit, you usually want to bet on him. And I've seen that surprise. A lot of people said it was surprising, but he's one of the best quarterbacks in the fourth quarter when trailing. And that doesn't surprise me because he is that box of chocolates. But he also is that from game to game. And the fact that they blew a big lead and that he was 19 for 30 with 2 interceptions, he's going to rebound with a good effort. That's why Matt Stafford's always going to be a starter in this league, but he's never going to be one of the elite quarterbacks in this league. He's actually, though, played his best against the Vikings in his career, 14 and 4 touchdown to interception ratio. Teddy Bridgewater, look, we've seen it so many times before. I don't like to use the term sophomore jinx because it kind of implies there's something supernatural. What happens is a guy goes from the 100 to the 100, and then good coaches, they've got a lot more game film to study and make adjustments, and I think that's what happened with Bridgewater. Yes, he did what a rookie's supposed to do. He got better as the year went on last year, but now he enters with some high expectations. He doesn't have that grace period. It's not a surprise to me that Bridgewater took a major step back in game 1. So with with Teddy Bridgewater following a very familiar script of second-year quarterbacks and Matt Stafford, Mr. Predictably Unpredictable himself, I think that Detroit is the play here because the Predictably Unpredictable says that Stafford's going to have a big game here.
Yeah, and if it does go down to the wire, you get one of those like 22-21 type games. Nice to have the cushion of 3 points, and you're not concerned about the elbow injury that he suffered in the second half last week.
I'll certainly pay much more close attention as game time comes near to see if that is going to be a factor. But really, if I would make a play here, if one of these teams falls down by, say, 2 touchdowns, bet the team that's trailing because that's really Matt Stafford's, that's pretty much his MO, that he will look terrible and then look great or vice versa. And again, Teddy Bridgewater, we know that he's also a little bit of an erratic quarterback too. So if either one of these teams has a big lead, I would actually take a strong look at betting the team that's trailing on the live line.
All right. Excellent advice, Joe Duffy. That's applicable all year long for Detroit. And Joe Duffy's advice on specific games can be found every week at OffshoreInsiders.com. Joe Duffy, give a quick plug for that before we let you go.
29 and 16, and yeah, it's, normally when the public has as great of a week as they did last week in the NFL, that's usually a rare case where we didn't, but both the public and we had a great week, and we've been having a great year. Already a bunch of picks, I think at least 5 picks up on OffshoreInsiders.com for the weekend, and plenty more Saturday and Sunday.
All right, thanks so much, Joe.
Thank you, sir.